What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Daily Champs. You're with your host, Justin Henry here. I got my guy, co-founder of Champions around here, Jason Gold here on the other side of me. Jason, what's popping, man?
Dude, I am so excited to finally be back doing content with you. Let's get it popping, baby.
It's been a minute, but we back and we're here, and we got a lot to talk about, man. Obviously, NBA Finals is in mid-swing right now, and it's heating up. Not in the right way for the Heat fans, but the series is getting good. And we also got some NFL, some breaking news today coming from the release of a surprise running back that we've had some rumors about all offseason, and then we'll get into some other numbers as well. But to start off with the NBA, man, this finals has been a lot more than everybody thought it was going to be, right? This was the finals that we didn't want, the Nuggets and the Heat, right? But this finals has turned out to be incredible. And game three saw a little turning of the tide there, right? The Miami Heat had all the momentum coming into game three at home. And here are the Denver Nuggets doing what they've been doing all season, proving people wrong, beating the Heat 109-94 on the road to take a 2-1 lead. Jason, when you were watching the game, what was kind of your thought process, man? Just kind of seeing the momentum swing it so much in the Nuggets' favor.
Well, let me start with this. If you change the jerseys to be the Lakers and the Celtics, this series would be absolutely insane. I think that people would have a much different view on what's going on in this series and would really appreciate what we're seeing. Greatness from both sides, especially on the Nuggets side after seeing last night. You had two triple-doubles, one from Jamal Murray and one from Jokic, who is just putting up an all-time playoff run, his third 30-20-10 of the playoffs. There have only been 5 such games in NBA history, one by Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I believe the other one's by Bill Russell. And then you have 3 by Jokic in this playoff. So absolutely insane run. No shocker. Should have been a 3-time MVP with apologies to Embiid. But we see when it comes to, when games actually matter, Jokic is just built differently than anyone else right now. I was not surprised to see the Nuggets take advantage of Miami. I thought that game 2 was a lot about the shot-making ability of the Miami Heat from the three-point line. They had 50% in that game. Were able to pull out in Denver. But if those buckets aren't falling for Miami, they're in a world of hurt. And I'm still holding on to this ticket, Nuggets minus 1.5 for the series. I still think they get it done in 6. I would not be surprised to see them pull out game 4. But what are your thoughts on it?
No, I think game 4 is going to be the Heat's game. That's a must win. Obviously, we all recognize that because they're not going back into Denver down 3-1 and getting the win there. But it feels like this Nuggets team is just like anytime their back's against the wall, they're just like the Heat. They find a way to win. And, having teammates go for 30-point triple doubles is insane already. And the one thing that I'm starting to get, you mentioned Jokic and just what he's been able to do. The one thing I'm starting to kind of get annoyed with is, he's like Kevin McHale or he's like Larry Bird. No, Nikola Jokic is Nikola Jokic. He's a one of one. This dude's a special talent. And like you said, he should have been a 3-time MVP. But we got in the pity, race for Joel Embiid. What these dudes are doing on the court is crazy to me right now. Jokic and Jamal Murray as teammates. I mean, the Kobe Shaq comparison is there and what they've done in their rookie year. But to have 30-point triple doubles, Jamal Murray, man, we all thought it was Bubble Murray. Nah, this is just Jamal Murray in his game.
I mean, he's always been a walking bucket. It's just a matter of health and then having someone to play off of. And obviously with Jokic, it kind of opens up the entire floor for him to be able to do what he wants to do. But, from the Nuggets side, if the offense isn't going right, they basically have 2 pressure release valves that can do anything at any time to get them a quick bucket, to get them back in sync. It's something that Miami really doesn't have. As much as I love Jimmy and Bam's been playing out of his mind, they don't have a guy that they can just go to every possession to go get a bucket. Nuggets have 2, and if things aren't popping right like they were in game 2 from Miami, I mean, that's basically the difference. The Nuggets can play a B- or a B game and get away with a win. I think that Miami basically has to play an A, maybe an A- game, but probably an A game to be able to beat the Nuggets in any game in the series.
Yeah, the shooter's got to be on point. We saw Duncan Robinson in the fourth quarter going crazy. It has to be Gabe Vincent dropping 20 points in a game. There's no way they can have any type of slow game from their role players and expect to win. So I agree with you there. What do you think about Jokic, though? Obviously, I brought that up a little bit, but it's the first time in history, not just the postseason history, in history that there's 30-point triple doubles. But then you mentioned him having 30-point triple double, 20 rebounds, playoff games as a triple double with Wilt Chamberlain and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Do you think all time? I start thinking of all time. Like I like getting into the all-time references.
Yep.
Where do you think Jokic is like top 3 all-time center already? When you're talking about like Shaq, Hakeem, Wilt, Kareem, like where you got him ranked?
Not yet. 2-time MVP, wins the finals. I'm assuming that they'll win this year. So let's just play out the scenario in which he wins this year and he wins finals MVP, which is probably likely. He's like minus 400, 500, something like that at the books right now. So top 3, I mean, you're talking about Wilt, Kareem, and Bill Russell. Those guys are kind of unimpeachable. Maybe you want to throw Shaq in there and Hakeem. So you're talking about 5 that I feel pretty confident based on their careers right now would be ahead of Jokic. But talk about a top 6 or 7 all-time center in NBA history. The guy's, I think he's 28 years old. He probably, he's got an insane motor. He never gets hurt. You probably got at least another 6 years of him kind of doing whatever he's doing right now. They win 2 finals. He's got 2 MVPs and he wins, 3 or 4 MVPs. Now you're at, put him against Shaq. I think that's a fair comparison. And Shaq was the most dominant, I think, physically that you'll ever see at the center position. But Jokic might be the most skilled big man that we've ever seen. Kareem, probably close, but definitely didn't pass as well. I mean, the guy's a point guard at center and has the body of a center. So it's not like where you have a Giannis or a Kevin Durant who have the size or height to play center. This guy's a legitimate center, and he plays point guard basically for them. It is unbelievable what he's able to do on the court.
Yeah, he's like not decked out. Like Shaq was Shaq Diesel. Jokic has like baby fat still on him somehow. Like it's a whole different game. One of the unsung heroes from Game 3, Christian Braun, however you say his last name. It looks like I always get it confused with like Ryan Braun's pronunciation.
Yeah.
But Christian Braun had an amazing game there, just completely find himself open at the rim every single game. What do you think of his performance? Because to me, as kind of the hero of Game 3, he seems like the single-handed reason why that team pretty much, took over the fourth quarter there. What do you think about Christian Braun's role with this team as Michael Porter Jr. became kind of a ghost there in the fourth quarter, didn't even see the court?
It'll be interesting to see what Mike Malone decides to do. I was actually going to bring this up in a little bit, but the thing that Miami has that Denver doesn't have, and I'm a Mike Malone fan, but Spo's Spo. I mean, he's a top 15 coach all time, and the adjustments that he can make on the fly with that team could provide them an advantage, especially in Game 4 and Game 6. If it comes to that in Miami, Brown, maybe he has a role. I wonder if Mike Malone was just like, all right, we've had 2.5 bad games of Porter in a row. We're up a bunch going into the fourth quarter. Let's see what this kid can do. And he performed admirably. I don't think that they're going to rely on him too much in Game 4, more than they already have. But, it's nice for Denver to have another piece off the bench to make them potentially 8 or 9 deep, where Miami's really rolling, 6.5 players out there at this point.
Yeah, hopefully they can get Tyler Hero back because they do need some additional depth for the Miami Heat. But
do you think Hero's going to come back?
I think he has to at this point. Like they need a shot of life, something, especially for Game 4. Going into Game 4, I feel like the sail's been kind of taken out of their wind, right? Or wind's been taken out of their sail. It's one of those things where they need some kind of a shock, like some type of thing that swings the momentum back in their favor. Because if they don't win Game 4, the series is over. And this Miami team has gone too far. They talk a big game, like we're going to win. We only need 3 more. And I think they need that sense of like, hey, we got the whole squad together now. I don't think he gets starter minutes. He's not playing 30 minutes a game, but I think just even a spark off the bench would be helpful for him. He did something that was kind of cool. He came out and said, I don't want to come back and then affect the team, affect the momentum, but now's the time. Like when you want to be full strength, you want to have a guy that can get you 20 points on any given night. I think it's time to see Tyler Hero.
I think it's a good idea for them to bring him back in Game 4, and I do think it's the right opportunity in this game after that loss to bring him back if he is able to. Maybe 12 to 15 minutes, let him get up, 6 or 7 threes. The question is who comes out of their rotation or who are they taking minutes away from in that scenario?
It sucks because I feel like with the Heat, they're all kind of streaky, right? You'll have Strus will look good at times, Caleb Martin will look good at times, Duncan Robinson will look good at times. I think if you carve about 5 minutes, like an equal share, like a piece of pie out of all those guys, 5 minutes out and give Tyler Hero 15 to 20 minutes of just time where he can rock on the floor is the number 2 option. I think that's a good move for the Heat, man.
I mean, what the hell happened to Caleb Martin in this series? The guy looked like Kawhi Leonard against the Boston Celtics, and he has not made any sort of dent in this series against the Nuggets.
He must have lost, he had them like Mike shoes on, the old Jordan shoes or something. They probably broke in the locker room or something, man. But yeah, he's been a different player. Gabe Vincent, man, a hero for this team in game 1 and game 2, was a little bit absent in game 3. So they need him to have a big game 4. The Nuggets are giving up 3.5 points on the road, or they're giving up, so 3.5 on the road, and the total sitting at 210.5 right now. Who do you like in game 4 and why?
I said that I like the Nuggets. I just think that the Nuggets are such a better team than Miami. I think the Miami run, they've played a lot of games. Remember, they had to play 2 games just to get into the playoffs. They just went through a 7-game series. I think, as tough as they are, and they are built like a war machine. Those dudes are military trained. I'm sure they'll be ready for the game. And I know the crowd in Miami was electric for game 3. I just think this is the Nuggets series, man. Maybe this goes 6, but I'm probably going to lay the points or lay the money line on the Nuggets. And then I probably like the under. The under's been the play in this series. I just don't think that Miami can score kind of at will where they need to. So give me let's do a little prediction here. I think it'll be closer this game. Let's go 104-97 Nuggets.
I actually like that total. I think this will be one of those games where the Heat bring everything that they have, whether it's a hero coming along, whether it's somebody having a big performance. I think Gabe Vincent plays a lot better than he did in game 3. We'll go 102-99. Heat win. Very close game. I think they pull it out in the fourth quarter. We see some heroics from Jimmy buckets, maybe a clutch bucket from Tyler Hero there in the fourth quarter. But I think this team needs momentum, and they don't back down we've seen every time we start to count out this Miami Heat team, they can't win. The size is too much for them against the Nuggets. They're going against the number 1 seed, the Bucks. They're going against the number 2 seed, the Celtics. Like every time we seem to count out the Miami Heat, there they are with the heart of a champion, man. So I'm not counting them out in this series or in game 4. Let's head over to the gridiron, though. NFL, let's get into some NFL news. Shocking news today. A little shocking, I'd say. It's somewhat expected, but Dalvin Cook was released after being a Minnesota Viking for 6 seasons now. Expected to release him officially this Friday, but it doesn't seem like he's going to get traded. Probably will be on the free agency market. We heard this, right? Obviously, money is a big factor. Having a capable backup in Alexander Mattison is a factor. These running backs, they got no shelf life, dog. None at all.
I mean, he's had 1,000 yards in 4 consecutive seasons, yet this was no surprise that he was going to be cut or traded by the Minnesota Vikings. I'm interested to see what the Vikings end up doing at running back. Alexander Mattison, for however good he's been as a backup, and whenever he starts for Dalvin Cook, I mean, he's a monster when it comes to PPR and fantasy, but he's only started 6 career games. I don't anticipate that he's going to be the answer for the entire season for the Vikings. I know that they're going to be a little bit more pass happy with Jordan Addison in the building and with what they kind of did last year with Justin Jefferson and Kirk Cousins. I anticipate that they will bring in someone else at running back, and I'm kind of interested to see where Dalvin Cook could go. Where do you think he's going to end up?
I think there's really 2 options for Dalvin Cook, right? And I don't think either one of them are money-based. I think it's about either I want to go try to win in an offense where I can be a big focal point, or I'm going to go play with my family. And so I think either Buffalo Bills, he goes plays with James Cook. The Bills are one of the teams in the AFC that has a chance at winning a Super Bowl. And then the Miami Dolphins, perfect scheme with Mike McDaniel. We know that they have a lot of speed there in Miami. Not really a solidified RB1 there. You got Raheem Mostert, obviously Jeff Wilson, and they drafted Devin Achane. So it's kind of one of those things where you're looking at it. There's a real opportunity for Dalvin Cook to come in and be a factor. What about you? Where you feeling he goes?
So I think that Miami makes a lot of sense. I don't think that he'll end up in Buffalo. The family thing is a cool idea. I just don't think that's something that's going to happen. Also, he'd be like taking snaps and potential money away from his brother, which is kind of a weird scenario. It's like, yeah, I want to play with my brother, but we also play the same position, so that's a little weird.
But some Wildcat stuff with them, like some Wildcat action with them, Cook.
You can't take Josh Allen out of the game and take the ball out of his hands. No way. But I love the idea. I'll throw a curveball in here. There was a person that Dalvin Cook was hanging out with at the Kentucky Derby. I don't know if anyone else saw this on social media, but he was hanging out with the former coach of the New Orleans Saints, Sean Payton. I think there's a chance that Dalvin Cook ends up in Denver, and Javonte Williams, I know everyone says he's going to be back by the beginning of the season. He's looking OTS. Look, the ACL injury and he got a lot of damage done to his knee. It's a 2-year injury. He's not going to come in there. And as much as we kind of like what Samaje Perine could do for the Bengals last year, he's not the every down answer for the Denver Broncos. So I think in that scheme with Sean Payton, you know how he loves his two-headed monsters. He did it all the time in New Orleans. I think that Dalvin Cook and Javonte Williams as a 1-2 would be really nice, with Samaje Perine being the third down, pass catching back. I think that the Denver Broncos, there's a shot. There's a shot
there. And Sean Payton always has a way of like making things work too, somehow, some way. I could see it. It would be a nice fit for him. It gives, like you mentioned, Javonte Williams a chance to get fully healed from his injury before they give him the full workload. And Dalvin Cook, with a lot to prove, still would be on a 1-year, 2-year deal, I'm assuming. Something small gives him a chance to go fight for his right to be a long-term back somewhere else, even at the age of 27. So slightly surprising cut. I think we knew a move was coming, but if he gets outright cut, we'll see what happens there and where he goes.
Do you think one more point on this?
Yeah.
Do you think, because he's a running back and these guys basically have to gobble up as much money as they can as early in their career as possible, because we know the longevity is such an issue? I know that we say he wants to go play for a title and play for a good team, but at the end of the day, do you think that money talks in this scenario and he's going to kind of go wherever the best money situation is?
I think we're kind of reaching a breaking point here with NFL players, right? A lot of NFL players have been like, oh, let me go get the ring later in my career. But I think with the amount of money that these guys get paid, and then the lack of commitment from the NFL owners now to pay these guys later in their careers, I think we're going to start to see a lot of players go for the bag 100% and say, you know what, screw the championship. I don't really need it. Unless you're LeBron James, unless you're Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, you don't really need a Super Bowl. And the team aspect of the NFL is kind of going to the wayside with these players pretending to be businesses now. Like they're not just team members anymore. I feel like the culture's changed, and the lack of respect, especially a guy like Saquon Barkley, who just had the season that he had, putting on his shoulders for the Giants. They franchised him. Now they're not committing to him long term. I don't know how you feeling about that.
I'm interested to see what a guy like Dalvin Cook would do, because I think that the money would play a big part in his decision at this point of his career, just because he's a running back. But also you see a guy like DeAndre Hopkins, right? It would make complete sense for him. He's made a ton of money. He's getting paid by the Cardinals still, to go take a ring-chasing deal and go play with a Patrick Mahomes or a Josh Allen. Yet his first visit is going to be with a team that has cap space in the Tennessee Titans, who are starting – God knows who. I mean, Tannehill or whatever the situation ends up being at quarterback this year. That's the team he's going to visit. Now, he has a connection with Vrabel, but they also have cap space to go pay him. That's where I'm like, I really think that the money matters more than anything else to these guys, and I don't want to get caught up in what's the best fit for Dalvin Cook. The best fit is wherever he's getting the bag.
Man, I agree with that. And it sucks because you started to see like a lot of the veterans go to do that. Like, hey, I want to play for a ring. But then you realize, like, why am I going to go take $2 million to go play with Patrick Mahomes when I can go take $15 million and have an equal opportunity to at least shine? And a lot of those times when they go take those lesser deals, they also take a lesser role on the team. And so now if you're DeAndre Hopkins and you go out there and you put up an 800-yard season with 8 touchdowns, yeah, you might go win a ring, but your next contract isn't there. You go to the Tennessee Titans and you put up 1,200 yards and 10 touchdowns, you might have a 3-year deal waiting for you. So I don't know. I'm with the players on this one, man. Go get the bag.
Like, I mean, for Hopkins, like, he would have easily taken like that $3 or $4 million deal if it were not for the Odell Beckham Jr. contract that the Ravens gave him, which is $16 million plus. Now Hopkins is like, oh, that contract's out there for me. I wasn't completely injured last year. Look, I'm gonna go play for the Titans and go get 15, 16 mil instead of getting 3 from the Chiefs because it's out there. If it wasn't out there, then yeah, you go play with Mahomes, you go win a title, and then see where you are in 2024.
I don't know, man. We'll have to see how these running backs, man, the minute that something happens with them, if they have even a little bit of a negative, they tend to go to the wayside. I'm wearing a Bengals hat right now. Another running back, Joe Mixon. We're worried about him after the season he had last year. He had a 5-touchdown game last year. But if you're drafting your fantasy teams, there's a lot of concern with Joe Mixon right now. Obviously, there was some stuff that happened in the offseason, some rumors that the Bengals would even be moving on from Joe Mixon, and we haven't really seen them do that. They didn't go in the draft and use high draft capital on a running back. They haven't signed any of the major free agents that are out there. How are you feeling about Joe Mixon this year? Because it's starting to feel like he's becoming a little bit of value here in fantasy leagues, redraft, and dynasty.
Yeah, it's weird because coming into the offseason, I was with you and I guess the majority of the public. I thought the Bengals would move on or at least bring in a secondary back to spell him a little bit, and he'd be a little bit down, a guy that you get in the third round and maybe he's overvalued, maybe slipped down the board. But Samaje Perine is gone. We just talked about him. He's in Denver. They didn't bring in anyone to replace him. It seems like maybe we're in the last year of a Joe Mixon contract with the Bengals, and they are absolutely going to run him into the ground, which is great for fantasy owners. He's probably a good value right now if you're drafting in the offseason.
Yeah, I expect a lot of the same too. And it's not like he hasn't been a top 12 back when he plays. When Joe Mixon's in the lineup, he's effective. So if you're fading Joe Mixon, that's because you're anticipating that the Bengals move from him or that they bring in another running back, Ezekiel Elliott or Leonard Fournette. And they haven't shown any of that. Like, they've shown that they're committed to him, like you mentioned, not even drafting a running back. So for me, I'm looking at Joe Mixon as a guy that I'm looking as a value. And in dynasty leagues, I'd be sending some low ball offers out there right now, trying to get him for the low. Shout out to Steffi Smalls in the chat. Was good. She said Saquon's agent, effed him. How we figure that? Why is she saying that?
She knows more about the Giants than I do. I can't pay attention to whatever's going on with Saquon's agent.
Hey, at the end of the day, he got the franchise tag. Hopefully he gets in there. But we got some fun. Obviously it's fun to kind of look ahead and talk like running backs, what we think they're going to do. But our producer has a little game for us, a little challenge for us. Some over-unders, baby. Producer Ryan got to join the chat. What's good, Ryan?
Hey. How's it going, guys?
Oh, we're here.
You ready?
Talking NFL, man. It's always fun here in June when we get to talk some NFL action, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We've already got some predictions, some numbers on what some season-long totals will be for some big players. This is from a major sports book. I won't say the name, but yeah. What do you think? I'll start with Jason.
We doing like a heads-up challenge? Are we doing like
it's going to be right it's going to be you versus Jason, and I'm going to give you a name, and you're going to guess what the line is currently set for over/under season-long stats here.
I love it.
So we're going to start with the rookie, Anthony Richardson passing yards. Jason, what do you think the line is currently set at?
So we have to factor in that Gardner Minshew is part of this conversation. But for the line, I'm guessing that they probably went high. Cam Newton threw for 4 if he's the best comparison. I'll go 2,999.5.
All right. Justin, what do you think?
That's a good guess. But see, I think it might be even lower because even though the Cam comparison's there, I think anticipation's that he's using his legs. But I was thinking 2,750. So you have a good number. I like it. I'm just a little bit under that. 2,750 is my guess.
All right, Justin, you get that one. It is currently 2,600.5.
Nice guess.
Hey, there it is.
So, all right, now we're gonna start.
It's like Price is Right, right? The show.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah,
shave underneath a little bit.
That was smart.
Here we go with another rookie. I'm going to start with Justin. Bryce Young, passing TDs for the season.
Passing TDs for the season. This is always tricky as a rookie, right? Because sometimes you see higher numbers. You see guys like Kenny Pickett throw 7 touchdowns. So it's always tough for rookies. I'm going to go with 13.5 for Bryce Young.
It is currently set. Oh, wait. You know what? I'll let Jason guess first.
All right. Well, I could Prices Right you. I'll just go at 14.5, but I'll go what I actually think the number is. I'm going to go with 18.5.
Well, thank you for not Prices Righting him and guessing a real number. You are closest. It is currently 22.5.
Oh, wow.
So I guess you guys definitely like the under on that one, huh?
That's a big
high.
number.
That's high.
Yeah, that's a big number. I know that, just recently Frank Wright's kind of said, hey, it's Bryce Young's time. He's taking over in OTAs, and he's the number 1 spot now. Do you think there's a chance that Andy Dalton or Matt Corral really starts the season this year, Jason?
No, I think that Bryce Young plays the entire year. But let's remember, if you go back to Derek Carr's last couple of years in Las Vegas, I don't think he's thrown more than 21 touchdowns in either season, and he's a guy who passes for between 4,000 and 4,500 yards a year. throwing 23 touchdowns is not a joke. There's not that many players in the NFL.
That's the under too, because I mean, even if he does start at the beginning of the season, he's still a small guy in the NFL for the first time. Yeah. He could get banged up for sure, or
that's a big number. Like
be sat for Andy Dalton if he doesn't,
I just think there's a lot of quarterbacks in general, not just rookie quarterbacks, but quarterbacks in general who struggle to get to that like 22 to 25 range. So Bryce Young, the high expectations coming in for the Rook.
I hope he does it, but that's high.
We're going to stay with QBs, but we're switching to rushing yards. Jason, Justin Fields, season total rushing yards.
Oh, my God. So last year he rushed for over 1,000. It's got to be under that because that's kind of ridiculous. I think Lamar's last year was like 995.5. I'll go with 875.5.
875.5. Justin, what do you have for Justin Fields season total rushing yards?
I think that number is baked with like injuries. Like I feel like that's a really good number, Jason. But I'm gonna go as if he's not getting hurt. And I'm gonna go a little bit higher than that because I think that if he plays a full season, he's probably gonna be somewhere in like that 1,200 yard range, like challenge Lamar's record. Give me 1,150.
Wow, you are way off. Jason, you got it. It's at 750.5. So you guys both really like the over on
Take
that
the over.
If he plays 14 games, I feel like he's going to get that number.
Yeah, I feel like he might. There might be like a 5-game stretch where he gets close to smashing that number. Just knowing.
I mean, he did it last year. He had like 800 yards in 5 games.
Yeah,
I don't think he'll run as much, but if he plays 17 games, I feel like that should be pretty easy. That's like 48 yards a game or something like that. It's not.
I feel like the only way he doesn't hit that number is with the injury, a 3 to 4 week injury. That's like the only reason, in my opinion, he doesn't hit that number.
Speaking of injured players, in the past, we've got Odell Beckham Jr. back on the board. Justin, what do you think his season total for receiving yards is set at?
It's probably something ridiculous. And Odell is going to crack whatever number this is. Odell is going to go way over this number. It's probably something like, 599? Like, I'm just 599 and a half.
Okay. Jason, what do you like?
I think that's even low. I think that's too low. I'll go 699 and a half.
Yeah.
Wow. Justin, you have totally redeemed yourself from the Fields number. It is sitting at 575 and a half.
Wow.
So you're almost right on it with 599.
The Odell disrespect. I knew it was baked in there.
All right. We're going to go to a defensive player for our last one. Jason, Jalen Ramsey, season total interceptions.
They probably set this number way too high, and it's going to go under for sure. I'll say 5.5, and he'll probably get like 3.
Okay. Justin.
Yeah, I was thinking 4.5, so I am going to price right you on this one. 4.5.
All right. Yeah, you are correct. It is 3.5 right now.
Oh,
that's a low number.
That's actually low. I think they said it right.
Yeah, I think that's It's going to be about 3 or 4, and I think being on Miami is going to give him a chance to take a little bit more chances defensively. I think we'll see a little bit more aggressive Jalen Ramsey, somebody playing with the chip on his shoulder. So I can see him hitting like 4.
All right. Well, I think Jason, you won. I wasn't really keeping track. But
you just
that was a great segment.
Congrats, Jason.
All right, I'm out of here. Enjoy your last segment, guys. Thank you.
Appreciate you, Ryan. Producer Ryan coming on, giving us some brain challenge for the day. Those are some interesting numbers, though, Jason. Like, I felt like some of them were kind of like stupid low.
The Odell one was surprising. I thought it would be low, but not that low. I mean, if he plays, I feel like he's probably going to hit the over on that. Whatever it is, it's the under. All right, stuff.
All the season-long stuff. I feel like a lot of the season-long stuff does go under, but it's injuries and then us always like trying to project things out. It never works, man. What do you got going on this weekend? You got a little nice golf shirt on there. It seems like you might have something going on this weekend, maybe, potentially.
Next weekend, we're going to the U.S. Open. can't wait. It's in LA. It's about 5 miles from my house. A course that I'm pretty familiar with. I cannot wait to get out there. I will be out there 8 days from now, next Friday.
Where's the invite, bro? Like I need to come out. I'm trying to watch the tournament, bro. Where's the invite at, man? I'm a little 6 hours away here in Sacramento.
Come on down.
I might have to.
We're gonna have a full crew going out. I think I'm going with 14 people. I got friends from college driving in for it. Actually, one of my friends is coming in from Sacramento to come watch it with me. I can't wait. It's going to be an absolute shit show of a day, which I am very much looking forward to.
I might have to carpool. What you wearing out there, man? You got I know sometimes you got to get dapper. Do you got any patterns that you're wearing out there or what?
Hey, you know what? I got a big frame. I might have a lot of big patterns on me, baby. Let's go for it. It's the U.S. Open. Maybe I'll wear a little July 4th polo T-shirt, get some blue, get a little Uncle Sam hat on. I don't know. We'll see whatever the content gods want me to wear. I will wear.
Speaking of content, what you gonna get? You gonna get some content out there, like while you're out there shooting, or what? You gonna play a little golf while you're out there?
Definitely not allowed to play any golf. I'm pretty sure I will get ejected from the stands. Don't want that. But yeah, maybe a little gentle teasing of some players if they're close to me. Maybe we'll talk some shit to some fans, see who they're rooting for, see if there's any live guys out there and how they feel about the new deal that's going on with the PIF and all that. It should be interesting. It'll be a good time. And looking forward to making some nice wagers around the tournament.
Making some wagers. Shout out to the live golfers that got paid, and RIP to the ones, the PGA golfers that did not get paid. Who do you like this weekend, man? Is there any long shots that you're looking at to take the US Open this weekend or next weekend?
Yeah, I mean, we'll do a full betting card next week, and also on Match Play, which will be out on Sunday. Steph and Spencer will go through all the best bets for the week. But for me, I can only take one guy, the king of California, the guy who has dominated the California tracks over the past 3 years, and who also happens to hold the course record of 61 at LA Country Club. Max Homa will be my pick for the 2023 US Open.
You get him at plus 2,200 to be the outright winner. Some good odds right there. I'd probably go with like Roy McIlroy. My knowledge of golfers is like here, bro. I got like three that I know. Hilarious, man. But all right, well, that does it for today's episode of Daily Champ. Shout out to Jason Gold for hopping on the stream with us. Shout out to the producer Ryan for tricking us the entire show with some season-long totals. We'll be back tomorrow with another episode of Daily Champs. Make sure you guys subscribe to the Champions Round channels, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace out.
See ya.